Right. Wow! 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 All right. Okay. 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 Hi, this Duncan here to do another food review for you. This time we're doing two frozen meals, and we're gonna compare them, we're gonna judge them each individually, then we're gonna compare them in a head to head battle to see which one is the best overall, right? And then we'll look at the price and we'll see, which one is the best value for the price. All right, let's jump in. The first one we're going to do is going to be, excuse me, Healthy Choice Chicken Margherita with Balsamics. Okay. Now, I don't know whose balls they saw mixed. Okay. But it does add a tanginess to the dish, which I do appreciate. All right. So and I guess they take a woman named Margarita and a nondescript gentleman's balsamics and they drizzle those all together. Okay. But it does look good. It does look good. This is already cooked. Look, let me show you. This is already cooked. It's a steamer, okay? They do make these in Cleveland, so technically this is a Cleveland steamer. What we'll do is combine everything all together when we're ready to eat it. Now, the second meal we're going to compare it to, look, is a Michelin. I have to hold it this way so I don't get the juice. Oh, you know what? I'll take the lid off now. Ooh, look how it's steaming. Okay. Now this is not a Cleveland steamer. This is made in Detroit. This is a Detroit steamer. Okay. Let me wipe off the lid. So these are juices. I'll squeeze these juices into the meal so they're not wasted. Look, this is a Michelina Salisbury steak dinner. The reason why I chose these two is this dinner is like $1.25. Okay. This one is like $3.75, so it's three times the price. Is it three times the flavor or three times the food size or what? That's what we're going to look at. We're going to see if it's worth three times the price or if I would rather eat three of these. Now, I did complimentary flavors, right? This has no meat in it, but it's super flavorful on account of a woman named Margherita rubbed her butt on it and somebody's ball sack sat in it. So you know it's tangy, you know it's earthy, you know it's got like maybe a pube or two in there. I don't know. We'll find out. But this one, this is just straightforward. This is just a slab of meat and some taters. Okay. And so look, just bing, bing, bing with the. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to try the Mechalina first because the lid is off. All right. We'll try the Mechalina first. And a lot of people, when they think of Pee Wee Herman when they say Mechalina. Because he used to say Mechalina High, Mecca Ho. If you don't know, on his show, Pee Wee's Playhouse, that was the magical phrase he said. And he actually only ate Mechalina dinners because they sponsored the show before the show took off. So when Pee Wee Herman was living in a cargo van before the show actually got syndicated, right? He would actually live off of these Mechalina dinners in between masturbating in movie theaters. So it's pretty cool, actually. Just a little bit of lore. Let me go ahead and cut a piece. Y'all, you're not going to believe this. Oh, okay, look. I went in here and there was no meat. I went in to cut the meat and there was no meat, but look. The meat is underneath the potato. Isn't that nuts? Okay, so I'll just take this and put it in the sauce like that. I thought, did I really get a TV dinner without meat? Thankfully, no. Okay. All right. Let me cut a piece and we'll try a bite. Okay. This is look. I'm hungry. I'm excited about this. I get some potatoes. They're still steaming. Okay, this is a Detroit branded steamer. So if you don't know the difference between Cleveland steamers and Detroit steamers, okay, this has been stripped of all precious metals because a lot of the houses that were abandoned after everybody moved out of Detroit, a lot of meth addicts and crackheads came in and stripped all the copper and all the valuable metal out of the houses, out of their walls. And so this actually has no nutritional value whatsoever. Okay, the potato is very pronounced, and I like that. Okay, I like that the potatoes are pronounced. They're very mediocre potatoes. You don't taste a lot of cream. You taste salt and you taste potato. That's all you taste. But it's not a bad flavor. Let me try the meat on its own. Okay. Just try one bite of meat. I'll put some extra sauce on it. Okay, here's a bite of the meat. Let me show you. That's a bite of the meat. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah, like it's $1.25, right? It tastes like cat food. But, I mean, cat food doesn't taste bad. Keeps your cats healthy, so um, it tastes like salty cat food. You know what I mean? But that's not a disparaging remark. That's just what it reminds me of. Um, Let me do one more bite with potato so I can give you my judgment. Get some sauce on there. Okay, look at that bite. Look at that bite. We got some potato. We got some bite. Now, if I were going to punch this up, I'd add ketchup to give it a little sweetness because that's what it's missing. It's a salt bomb, is what it is. But the flavors are good. And considering it's only $1.25, if you need your protein, right? Let me see if I can look at this. I don't want to dump it everywhere. It has 9 grams of protein. So that's decent, right? That's decent for cat food or almost cat, sort of cat food. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. My final verdict on this one. This is again. I'm just judging based on flavor. If it's going to be fulfilling for you as a meal. I don't know how sustainable this is again because this is a Detroit steamer. It has very little nutrients except for that protein. I would give this a 7.1. Okay. Flavor wise, it's good. It's good for $1.25 meal. How's that? Okay. All right. So now what we need to do, now we try the Cleveland Steamer Healthy Choice Cafe Cleveland Steamer. If you don't know, Detroit is a little bit above Cleveland. So the Cleveland Steamer, imagine if I were the United States, the Cleveland Steamer would be right here, Cleveland. Detroit Steamer would be right here, right on my cheek and part of my mouth. So let's go ahead and unleash this steamer. Let's get on in here. And again, look, this has a lot of juice on it that I don't want to waste. Valuable juice that I'll just squeeze back into the dish, just like that. Get it on in there. Oh, yeah. All that juice. Look, if I were on camera, I would lick this clean. And that wouldn't be the first Cleveland steamer I'd lick clean, you know what I mean? By the way, if you are involved with any Cleveland steamers, make sure you put a tarp down or you have some saran wrap. That's going to keep a lot of your furniture clean. Here's all you do. Look, you just dump this in the sauce, y'all. Look at that. You just dump it right in there, just like that. Also, don't drop any food on your keyboard like I did. If my keyboard stops working, you know why. Okay. All right, let me clean this up. This is valuable juice. I will squeeze this into the dish as well. Waste not, want not. You know what I mean? There's a lot of hard times out there. A lot of people are struggling. I'm not going to waste valuable juice. Valuable food juice. Now we've got noodles, and remember, we've got Margherita sat in this and farted. And then we've got someone's balsamics in here too. So we're going to stir it all up, get those ball juices. Oh, there is meat. There's chicken in here. There's chicken. That changes the game, y'all. There's chicken in here I didn't realize. Do you see this is still steaming? I don't know if y'all can see that. They don't call it a steamer for nothing. That'd be false advertising. If somebody came over on Saturday night and said, I brought some healthy choice Cleveland steamers, but then there was no steam, I would turn them away. Just if it was a Jehovah's Witness at my door ready to give me a Cleveland steamer for dinner, I would just turn them away flat out. Flat out. Not in my house. Okay, so we got it all stirred up. Look at that. You know what looks appealing immediately? The chicken looks appealing, right? Let me show you some of the chicken. The chicken looks pretty juicy and appealing, and then the tomatoes. That's what gets me is they were flash frozen, but they look good. The tomatoes look good. And then we've got that sauce down here. We've got that sauce that we're kind of getting on all the noodles. I'm really looking forward to this one, actually. I smell balsamic. I smell some rosemary, right? And see, that if I was eating the other one and I smelled rosemary, I'd go, oh, this is definitely cat food. So now I'm second guessing whether this, margarita noodles with, hold on. Let's go in. Oh, man. That's interesting. The sauce is not as forward as I thought it was going to be. I thought the sauce would be more pronounced, okay, but it's not. I'm going to try another bite, try to get some tomatoes and a nice piece of chicken, and then I'll show y'all. Look at that. Nice piece of chicken. Look at all that. I don't know why I'm shaking. Maybe because I'm hungry. So I taste a lot of floral elements, right, from the seasoning. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's overpowering a lot of the food. And the noodles aren't particularly delicious. Not the mouthfeel isn't that great. It's like a linguine style noodle, so they're thinner. I imagine that helps it cook in the microwave. I'm not a huge fan of it, actually. I've heard good things about the Cleveland Steamers. Every time I've had one, I didn't go to college, but when I hung out at college parties, sometimes I'd wake up and I guess everybody fixed food while I was sleeping. I'd wake up with the Cleveland Steamer on my chest. And the meat's a little chewy. It's delicious, but in all honesty, this is not a great meal. It's sustainable, it fills your tummy, but I wouldn't go back to this meal. I'd have to give this one like a 5.6. Okay. No, I'm not going to waste it. And we still have to do the head to head challenge. Okay. And I'll show you how that works. It is a battle royale where I put both of them in my mouth. Okay. It's kind of like a key party. If you don't know what a key party is, sometimes if you play D&D or you play like Life or Monopoly, you go over to a buddy's place. You put your keys in a fishbowl so that you can't leave when you're angry. You have to stay and work out your problems. You put your keys in the fishbowl, you lock the fishbowl away, and then you just start playing games. And so this is definitely a meal that I would not want to have at a key party. I would not appreciate if someone left this on my chest and I woke up with it. That would not be a meal that I'd be looking forward to. But that doesn't mean that it won't win in the head-to-head challenge. How the head-to-head challenge works, okay, is we put both of the flavors in my mouth at the same time, right? And we let them fight it out. And the one that is the most pronounced flavor is the one that wins. It's that simple. So even though the healthy choice cafe steamers chicken margarita with balsamic balls vinegar, this one got almost 2 points less of a score than that one. This could still win easily. Which food is more powerful is what we're testing. So let me get a bite of the Michelina. I get lots of sauce in there. Get a real boozy bite. Look at that. Nice, filled with sauce. Got plenty of potatoes. Big old chunk of cat food. Okay. Mmm. Okay, here's how it plays out. I took the noodles and I took the balsamic balls vinegar in my mouth with the margarita sitting on it. With I guess she sat on the tomatoes, and that's what made them ripen. All of that, like this dish is advertising flavor, is it not? Look at this picture. Okay, look at this and look at this picture. It's not quite the same, is it? Now, this should have overpowered the other one, right? This should have overpowered the $1.25 Michelina's dinner, but it did not. The Michelina's dinner won hands down because all of these flavors literally coated the other flavors in my mouth. The potato, the Salisbury steak dressing, and then the cat food style Salisbury steak. All three of those flavors were predominant after I got done chewing and I was ready to swallow. Okay? And by the way, I've told you this before, always swallow. A lot of people that test wine or test colognes, they'll end up spitting out the cologne, right? Or they'll end up spitting out the wine or coffee or whatever. Like, that lets me know that you don't want to please your drinking partners, whoever you're sitting there sharing wine with or coffee, right? I can't trust you. You've got to swallow, okay? And I will never spit if I'm sitting here with a Detroit steamer in one hand and a Cleveland steamer in the other. All right. Now back to the results. These flavors far overpowered these flavors. And to tell you the truth, this meal was way more satisfying flavor-wise. And I feel like the density of this food, like the density of the cat food meat, the density of the potatoes, and that thickness of the sauce, why wasn't this sauce thick? You would think if you rub somebody's balsamic vinegar bag on this, it would be pungent, right? But it's not. It's not. This is a limp noodle. This is a noodle that has to explain to its partner that it had a hard week, work is stressful, and then their partner's like half-heartedly, "Oh no, it's not your fault." Would not recommend. I would not recommend the Healthy Choice Cleveland Steamer Cafe Steamer chicken Mrs. Margherita with balsamic vinegar. I would highly recommend, for 1/3 the price, the Michelina Salisbury steak. I would let this sit on my face and fart all day long. All right, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, hit that little dong in the corner, right? Hit that dong in the corner. Okay. We have fun. Until next time, be good to each other. Treat each other with kindness because there's a lot of weird shit going on in the world. I would say I love you, but a lot of you on YouTube are kind of racist. But I still care for you. All right. Until next time. Bye. Cut! Cut!